right, good morning, good morning. It's Monday, July 13th, 2020. It's 2:58 a.m. I'm getting ready to start my day, my workout, my exercise. Without throwing my wife under the bus, she has been requested by her doctor to monitor some sensitive things, right? Monitor meaning write down when it happened, what happened, and then keep specific dates, times of everything in between. And I see this piece of paper sitting in the bathroom, and it has all these dates. It looks, matter of fact, it looks very familiar. Now I have two of these books. This one I keep in the car. If you look at those pages, it's my financial budget, this book. It's what I spend each and every month. And at the end of the month, I budget it. And then I analyze where I spent more, where I spent less, investments. So similar to what she has, I have in this. The thing is, when I started seeing real relevant change in aspects of life that I needed to see change, right? I can name off a couple areas where I needed to see change. I needed to see change in my physical appearance, my weight. I needed to see change in my finances, my checkbook. I needed to see change in how I spent my time. And in doing so, I knew that it was important to start to track these things, to write it down. It wasn't enough to just have it here. It wasn't enough to just think you knew. I took it a step further, and I write it down. And I remember for the longest time, because I've been doing this for a while. I remember for the longest time, I would just write down the numbers I spent, and I'd be like, all right, what does this mean? And then the next thought said, well, you need to add it up. You need to categorize it, what the money was spent for. Then you need to add it up. And you need to find out how much was spent. Was it gas? Was it groceries? Was it miscellaneous? Was it business? Was it personal? Was it household expenses? Was it mortgage payments? What was it? So that I can identify not only where the money went, how much of the money went for that month. And the funny thing is, it held me to a higher level of accountability. And then when I was the initial stages of working through physical, what are you eating every day? What are you eating every day? Because it's real easy to say, yeah, I don't eat bad. I don't eat at all. And then you find out, yeah, you don't eat bad, but you don't eat good either. Because the fact is, you didn't really have anything, but you ate a bag of chips, you ate a candy bar, and you had a soda. So not only did you not really eat a lot, but you ate horrible when you had the opportunity to feed your body something. right? But without that physical evidence, we could tell our mind anything, so we can create enough excuses, right? And reality isn't it the excuses that's been holding us back? So we know that when accountability is stacked up against the excuse, you know, men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. And now you're faced with the reality of what is. But my point being, why I said I wasn't going to throw my wife under the bus, the point being is if the experts have been saying this, and I've been saying this, and I've put this to the test in any area where I know I need assistance, or I know I need accountability, like time. You know, if you track in a given day, in a given week, and you just get your little notepad and track what Monday, I woke up at this time, spent 1 hour watching TV, 5 minutes working, 20 minutes on the phone talking to Betty Joe. Do that. As a matter of fact, Monday, don't even count, don't even add up the time. I want you to feel the pain. Wait until 7 days has been documented. Then go back through the 7 days. Add up how much time you spent working on income producing projects. Right? Because income producing is important. Then add up how much time you spent on family or faith. Then add up how much time you spent on nonsense. And if over the span of 7 days, you come up with 21 hours of nonsense, well, that's 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day of not doing anything every day on an average. And if you think the average person is asleep at 10 o'clock, don't wake up until 6 or 7 o'clock, well, that's 8 hours. Then there's no business to be conducted for the first 3 hours, so that's 12. So you put 3 more hours on top of that. That's a total of how many hours out your day that you've given over to nothing. And then you wonder why you look up at the clock and you see that it's already time for the day to be over, and you feel like you haven't accomplished anything. But again, I bring all this up to simply say, why is it that a doctor could tell you to do something that should benefit your health, as long as it doesn't require exercise, cutting out junk food, monitoring your time, not talking to people who will create high levels of stress, but as long as it's simple, it'll be adhered to. But when the experts who can tell you about how to lose weight, hard, how to manage your time, discipline, how to keep more of your money, discipline, hard, it's regarded as it doesn't work. Nonsense. It's because the way that we've been conditioned into this microwave type of life that leaves us constantly coming up short. Until the pain hits you so hard that you have no choice but to make a change. But why always be backed into that corner, that inevitable corner? That means you always got to come out fighting. And let's be honest, I'm working through things like that myself to make sure that I'm not self-sabotaging myself or giving too much into fear or overthinking things. I had a project I had to do where it was a simple video. I had to post it and pay for some advertising and get it done. And I overthought that thing for about 4 days. And by the time I really started to come to the idea of how important it was, it took me about 5 minutes. The change that you want is going to come in the form of the thing you don't want to do. And when you come across and when you cross paths with something that you don't want to do, understand that on the other side of that is what you want. Unfortunate truth.